a lot of these things that Caitlin Clark has been facing and how nasty it's been, man. Let's be clear, man. This stuff has been nasty work. We've been watching it from day one. We've been watching her be targeted. We got all these Kerry champions and all these people going out spewing these lies, talking about she's getting special treatment. No, that's Asia Wilson, who shoots 89 free throws a game. That's Paige Beckers, who you can't breathe next to without getting a foul. That's Breanna Stewart, who shoots 18 free throws and still goes in press conferences and blasts the refs.
Derek Fisher, the former Lakers guard known for delivering big shots alongside Kobe Bryant during his championship years, recently weighed in on the harsh criticism and racial undertones that have followed Caitlin Clark throughout her time in the league. Appearing on 97.1 The Fan, Fisher didn't dance around the subject, addressing the hostility directed at her head-on. Much of the commentary painted the situation bluntly. The treatment Clark has received has been ugly from the start. Critics have repeatedly claimed she gets preferential calls, yet the numbers tell a different story. Aja Wilson attempts roughly 89 free throws over a season, Paige Buchers draws contact fouls constantly, and Breanna Stewart shoots nearly 18 free throws a game while still criticizing officials afterward.
That's Breanna Stewart, who shoots 18 free throws and still goes in press conferences and blasts the refs. Not Caitlin Clark. She don't get the type of treatment those people get. We got to keep it real here. Let's take a look at what Derek Fisher had to say.
No,
we don't live in that world.
Their experience has been like to see someone else treated differently than they feel that they have been treated. That's also mixed into even some of the WNBA players as Caitlin Clark was coming into the league. Mm-hmm. Like, hey,
and this is talking about
Clark, by comparison, doesn't get anywhere near that level of accommodation. During the interview, Fisher noted that some players' frustration stems from watching someone else receive a different experience than what they themselves went through coming into the league. He pointed to jealousy as a real factor. Clark arrived selling out venues, landing national broadcasts, and generating attention few rookies ever have. When she first needed private travel because her profile outpaced everyone else's, some players objected loudly.
Speaking of to the jealousy, okay? They saw her coming in, selling out arenas, getting on national TV, all of this stuff. Remember when everybody wasn't flying private yet, and Caitlin Clark had to because she's so much more popular than all these other people. They said, oh, no, it was a big problem. But then she eventually got them all put on PJs, and they still was hating. They still were jealous. They were jealous that she was the reason.
Eventually, the league expanded charter travel for everyone, yet resentment lingered, particularly because she was the driving force behind that change. Fisher acknowledged that he and other veterans came up in the league without those advantages, admitting Clark walked into benefits many before her never had. Still, he emphasized, nobody disputes that she's generating fresh energy, attendance, television ratings, merchandise, cultural buzz. The statistics back it up.
For a lot of it. Keep cooking, Derek.
Hey, well, we've been a part of this league like was coming into the league. Mm-hmm. Like, hey, well, we've been a part of this league for a long time and never gotten some of the benefits and things that you are experiencing.
And she walked right into it.
And that she walked right into. Nobody is saying she isn't creating new energy, passion, support for the league, ticket sales, viewership.
One perspective pushed back on how that point was framed, arguing everything Fisher listed is exactly why the league should have supported her more, not less. Instead, when she absorbed an unusually high number of hard fouls, the response was largely silence. When she became a target on the floor, little was done to protect her. Rather than elevating her, the league has mostly profited from her popularity without matching that with real backing. 3 years into her career, and her signature shoe still hasn't launched, which some see as proof of how little has actually been done for her.
Passion, support for the league, ticket sales, viewership, like that's clear. You can't argue the numbers even in terms of her stats.
I mean,
now the thing when he said that is all of the things he listed is why the WNBA should have treated her a certain way, that they have failed and dropped the ball, and everybody's been calling them out, letting it be known the WNBA fumbled Caitlin Clark. When they watched her be the most flagrantly fouled player, they did nothing. When they watched her get targeted.
The so-called Clark effect came up as shorthand for the surge in attention she's brought, a term now widely used across media coverage. The debate then shifted toward perceptions of favoritism, with some suggesting any sense of special treatment relates more to how referees and the league office handle her than anything else. That claim drew pushback. Statistically, she draws few fouls in her favor. Comparing her whistle numbers to Bucher's or Wilson's foul and free throw totals makes it hard to argue she's getting an easier road.
They did nothing. They have done everything they can to actually minimize her. So the things that he's listing are just a few of the reasons why they should have gotten behind her and provided a push that they have failed to do. She's dealing with all the hate and negativity, and the league hasn't even gotten behind her. What are we talking about? All they've done is capitalize off her.
The conclusion offered was that resentment, not preferential officiating, explains most of the criticism. Fisher also noted that established players who didn't receive similar attention when they debuted sometimes struggle to process watching a newcomer draw this level of spotlight. He compared it to how differently Kobe Bryant was covered entering the league in 1996 versus how a modern phenom like Victor Wembanyama is covered today. Sports evolves, and each new transformative figure changes the media environment for those who follow. Still, he stressed that when women, particularly women of color, describe how a situation looks or feels to them, there's often a deeper layer worth acknowledging, beyond surface-level statistics.
Talking about all they've done is capitalize off her. They haven't gotten behind her to make it even bigger for everyone as it should be. We 3 years in, the damn shoes ain't even out yet. Come on.
In the phrase that
energy, she isn't creating new energy, passion, support for the league, ticket sales, viewership, like that's clear. You can't argue the numbers even in terms of her stats.
I mean, the phrase that's even been used a ton, the quote-unquote Caitlin Clark.
That deeper layer, according to the discussion, ties back to race. One commentator suggested that broadcaster Kerry Champion's criticism of Clark stemmed specifically from an on-court moment involving Clark and assistant coach Bree Hall, who is black. The argument was that Champion hadn't raised similar objections during other incidents. When Angel Reese knocked a clipboard from a coach's hands, when Kelsey Plum criticized officials at a podium, when Gabby Williams or Cheryl Reeve or Nate Tibbetts did the same, or when a broadcaster criticized fans cheering for Aja Wilson in Atlanta. According to this view, the outrage only surfaced once Clark's confrontation involved a black coach, which the speaker took as evidence of a racial double standard.
In terms of her stats.
I mean, the phrase that's even been used a ton, the quote-unquote Caitlin Clark effect.
Yeah.
That is a phrase that's thrown around.
You can't argue that part. I think some of the, the feelings around the favoritism, et cetera, is more in how she's treated by, the officials, the league itself, et cetera.
But my thing, I don't understand when they say how she's treated by the officials. This girl don't even get no damn foul calls. She literally gets no foul calls. Have y'all watched a Paige Becker's game and how many foul calls?
Fisher, for his part, said he tries not to react with extremity to opinions he disagrees with, noting everyone is entitled to share their perspective. When pressed directly on whether race plays a role in the hostility Clark faces, he confirmed that it does, while noting this dynamic isn't unique to the WNBA. It's shown up throughout sports history in various forms. The final take offered was straightforward. Race shouldn't factor into appreciation of talent. Whether a player is any given background makes no difference. What matters is whether they can play.
And against LSU, the defending champs, she dropped 41 points. I believe she was actually, 9 of 10 from the three-point line? Yeah, she was dominating the competition. Dominating, guys. Now, her career is almost over with, but I think she's going to be a great player no matter what she actually does. Even though she's going to the WNBA, you guys know how we actually feel about the WNBA. I still don't believe that Caitlin Clark can actually move the needle.
Clark was described as appointment viewing regardless of any of that, someone genuinely entertaining to watch. The frustration expressed was that criticism from figures like Champion and various league players has increasingly little to do with basketball and more to do with everything surrounding it. This college basketball season, the biggest name in the sport, on the men's or women's side, has been Caitlin Clark of Iowa, currently pushing toward a championship in the Final Four. She just knocked off the reigning national champions, LSU, led by Angel Reese.
I don't believe that Caitlin Clark can actually move the needle in the WNBA. I really, really don't. But man, we actually may have another video coming later on about the ratings, because boy, you're talking about Caitlin Clark got the ratings, guys. So we'll probably talk about that in another video. But Paul Pierce, NBA champion, who's actually on the failing show Undisputed with Skip Bayless. Yeah, it's still on the air for now. Boy.
Clark has been unstoppable throughout the year, though really, dominance has followed her across her entire time at Iowa. This season alone, she was putting up roughly 32 points a game, and against that defending champion LSU squad, she exploded for 41 points, connecting on 9 of 10 attempts from beyond the arc. She simply overwhelmed the opposing defense. Her college run is nearing its end, but she's expected to remain a standout no matter where she plays, even heading into the 1BA.
Show Undisputed with Skip Bayless. Yeah, it's still on the air for now. Boy, that show, man, is probably going to be ending here pretty soon, man. The ratings are trash. But he said something so idiotic, in my opinion, on Undisputed. This man was actually shocked that Caitlin Clark beat black girls. Yeah, I'm not making this up, guys. So let's talk about it. Make sure you guys like this video, subscribe to the channel.
There's ongoing skepticism about whether she can really shift the league's popularity, though a separate discussion about the ratings she's already generating is probably worth covering another time, because the numbers tied to her games have been massive. Paul Pierce, an NBA champion currently appearing on the struggling program Undisputed alongside Skip Bayless, a show that still airs but appears to be on its last legs given how poor the ratings have gotten, made a comment recently that comes across as pretty foolish. On that broadcast, he expressed surprise that Clark was able to beat a team of black players. This isn't an exaggeration or a misquote, it's exactly what he implied.
Subscribe to the channel, become a channel member live stream every single Friday. We appreciate the support. So here we go. Check this out. Hall of Famer Paul Pierce didn't expect Caitlin Clark to dominate black girls from LSU. What, has he not been paying attention? Has he not been paying attention, man?
Hall of Fame forward Paul Pierce apparently didn't anticipate Clark handling LSU's roster the way she did. It raises the question of whether he's actually been following her career at all. As mentioned, she was averaging 32 points a night, and the vast majority of athletes across the women's NCAA tournament happened to be black.
Has he not been paying attention, man? Like I said, she averaged 32 points per game. And I'm pretty sure that the majority of the players in the NCAA women's tournament have been black. Has he not been paying attention to Caitlin Clark? So Paul Pierce is assuming just because she's white that she couldn't dominate black girls? Really? Let's read this.
So it seems Pierce assumed that because Clark is white, she wouldn't be capable of outplaying a mostly black roster. Once again, Clark was the standout on the floor that Monday night, now the NCAA's all-time leading scorer in the sport, dropping 41 points to push top-seeded Iowa into the Final Four after a 94-87 win over third-seeded LSU. She earned first-team All-American honors for a third straight year, breaking multiple records along the way before her move to the 1BA later this year.
Let's read this, guys. Caitlin Clark was once again the best player on the court Monday night. The NCAA's all-time leading scorer. She's the all-time leading scorer, guys. Dropped 41 points to send number 1 Iowa to the Final Four after the Hawkeyes beat number 3 LSU 94-87. Clark was a first-team All-American for the third year in a row while setting numerous records before she heads to the WNBA later this year.
that LSU performance marked her fifth 40-point outing of the season, and her third game hitting 9 three-pointers. Despite her usual level of dominance, one Hall of Fame analyst seemed caught off guard by the outing. Pierce suggested that facing a Tigers roster made up largely of black players would somehow be a tougher matchup for her.
Later this year. It was her fifth 40-point game of the season, man. And the third time she hit 9 three-pointers. However, one basketball Hall of Famer was surprised that the normally dominant Clark put up such a performance. Paul Pierce insinuated that because Clark was playing against a Tigers team comprised of mostly black players, she wouldn't be able to handle the competition.
Before diving further into his exact words, it's worth noting that one of the greatest players in NBA history is white, Larry Bird of the Boston Celtics. Unquestionably a top 10 all-time talent who spent his career outplaying plenty of black opponents. Pierce himself played for the Celtics, so it's fair to ask whether he was ever shocked that Bird dominated black players during his own era. The comment Pierce made was genuinely careless.
Wouldn't be able to handle the competition. What? Before we actually get into what he said, one of the all-time greatest players in NBA history is a white man. That would be Larry Bird, Boston Celtics great. Clearly, in the top 10 of all-time great NBA players. Guess what? He dominated a whole bunch of black people in the NBA.
He said on FS1's Undisputed that they watched a white girl from Iowa do that to a group of black girls in that game, adding respect, noting she didn't do it to other white opponents somewhere in Colorado, but instead did it to LSU players who were supposed to be tough, the defending champs, and that she put them over her knee, so to speak, adding he hadn't expected that outcome. His shock apparently stems from LSU's roster being largely black. Clark shot 13 for 29 from the field overall, hitting 9 of 20 from three-point range.